And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the second weekly webinar of 2021. The year is certainly flying by, so it's absolutely great that we are getting these going and really focused on your goals and your success in 2021. So today we're going to be looking at the 6 steps to student success. So we're going to be walking through those. But before we get there, just say hi in the chat, and as always, let us know where you're from, which universities, etc. So now we've always got Tukkies, we should have Wits. I think there's people coming from Nelson Mandela Bay University, even Cape Town and UNISA. So please do pop a chat in the box there and just say hi. And then also very specifically, what I'm interested to know is when you think about student success, what is that for you? Now, it may not only be successfully qualifying and graduating, and at whatever level you are studying, you're going to have to get through, those stages. You're going to have to get through from one year to the next. Ultimately, get your degree at a bachelor's level, honors level, master's level, PhD, etc. So just give me a sense of, your definition of success. But equally, it could be just getting through some exams in the next couple of weeks, or getting, an assignment completed, or getting a proposal approved. We looked at proposals in detail last week, and that was a big goal that a lot of people have when we spoke about proposals. Hi, David from Tux. Hi, Michelle Lee from Pretoria. Tux, University of Pretoria, Nelson Mandela, Francois. Fantastic to have you guys here. So then please start popping into your chats, what specifically it is that, we can possibly help you with today, and we can give you some guidance on, or that you specifically define as student success for yourself. And, depending on the stage of your career, maybe you've done your PhD and you now focused on getting some publications out there, and that could be a definition of success. The focus today is going to be a little bit more around getting you through to a successful graduation, where you've got, research-based studies that you need to complete. So that really is the focus of the 6 steps. But equally, the techniques and what you learn in completing these 6 steps, such as, for example, writing and completing proposals and so on, are also going to be very important for many other aspects of academic study. So wonderful, thanks. We've got just such an absolutely fantastic response today on the webinar, and I just really want to cheer you guys on, and I just really want to encourage you for 2021. We're going to make sure that it's not the year when 2021, we're going to move on from 2020, 2021. Hopefully it's going to be a fantastic year for you. You're going to achieve your goals. And what I've really put a lot of time into over the last couple of months, actually recording and putting this course together, and the material that I'm going to take you through now, I've been very focused on trying to bring you the very best content, the very best, most practical steps that you can take to be successful. And we're going to cover a lot of that in this sort of next 45 minutes. And then I'm going to give you access into the course that's available, and you can go in there and you can really go through that premium masterclass and get all the benefits from a really in-depth experience and series of lessons and demonstrations and practical applications of the techniques that you need to be successful as a student. Tux, University of Pretoria, fantastic. Okay, guys, so just give me a little bit of a sense of what questions you've got. What are your specific priorities in terms of student success for 2021? And as you'll see in all the webinars, even if you've got a goal today or this week coming up, what is that goal and how can we help you? And we've had a couple of wonderful examples where, we pick up, a comment that's come through or a question, and we solve that right away. And, then the person makes, gives us an update in the Facebook group afterwards to say, brilliant, I put this into practice. Thanks for the coaching, made some progress. So yeah, on that note, don't forget that, we have the Facebook group. So you can join in there to get, exclusive support. It's a members-only Facebook group, which I moderate. And the focus there really is just to give you that sense of community, give you a sense of support. We actually are running a mentorship program in there at the moment, whereby we have people coming into the group that are saying, look, I'm willing to mentor students. That's something that I want to do. And then we pair up people in the group that are looking for mentors or an accountability partner, or just somebody to encourage them. Maybe they're looking for somebody neutral, somebody in addition to their supervisors, for example. So we have that mentorship program running in the group at the moment. And of course, it's just a safe space, where we can share relevant topics and posts and articles and updates and information, all with regards to student success. So please do make sure you go click on the link there, and I'll see you in the Facebook group, and we can catch up afterwards. And also, like I did last week, in that Facebook group, I drop all my slides. So you get all the slides from today. You get all the updates, a lot more information and detail that I can provide to you through the members only Facebook group. And of course, a lot of people do ask me, if I provide individual one-on-one coaching, and the answer is yes, I do. Happy to have a 30-minute call. I don't charge for it. You just need to pop me a direct message in Facebook is the best way to do it. I'll give you back my WhatsApp number. We'll have a call or a Zoom or whatever you're comfortable with, and just give you some specific pointers for your specific direction. Okay, so Mohammed there is talking about, can I get some advice on how to overcome procrastination? Please, I'm a bit of a procrastinator. So Mohammed, I love this. I love this one. I absolutely love this one. And we're just going to quickly segue into this, and then we'll dive into the 6 steps of student success. So Mohammed, I teach a principle called Burn Your Boats. And it comes from, I think, the Spanish Armada. And the story that these commanders and their navy landed on the beach, and they were trying to conquer this island. And the chief naval officer said to the men, and obviously the enemy was now on the island, and he said to them, "Burn the boats." And they said, "Are you crazy? What if we need to leave?" And he said, "No, that's exactly the reason we're going to burn the boats, so that we cannot leave. We have to conquer the island." So that principle, and applying it into our daily lives, is about saying, make a bold statement about something that you need to overcome. And maybe it is just a barrier in your own mind. You can't make a bold statement about something that is outside of your ability to control. But procrastination is 100% something that you can overcome and control. I absolutely guarantee you. So Mohammed, what we've done previously is when we had this type of comment come through, the simple question back to you now, Mohammed, and you've got the next sort of half an hour or the time in this webinar to think about it, is to think about this principle of burning your boats. I would presume you're procrastinating around either a writing project or getting some reading done or studying for an exam. So I want you to think in your mind, what are you going to commit to all of us that you will have completed for that objective, let's say by Monday or even this evening? I don't mind. Give us that deadline and that commitment in the chat. Don't make it too big. So even if it's just, I need to write 200 words for this assignment, or I need to study for 2 hours by the certain time. So Mohammed, think about that and then put it in the chat. Join us in the members only Facebook group, and we are going to cheer you on, because you're going to tell us that you overcame your procrastination, you did that writing, you studied for your exam, and you've broken through procrastination. And I promise you now, Mohammed, once you've broken through the small things for procrastination, you've done 200 words, you can do another 200 words, you can do another 200 words. You studied for a couple of hours, you can do another hour, you can do another hour, you can do another hour. Often the procrastination is just about starting. So I want you to think about what you're going to burn your boats with in front of all of us. Make that public commitment, and then we'll see you in the members only Facebook group, and we'll catch up and see how much progress you made there. Okay. Question is, how do I become teachable? I struggle to stay up late like other uni students. How do I work enough in a 25-hour day? Okay, Brandon, that's a great comment or question to lead us on into these 6 steps. So my answer to you is to be efficient in how you spend your time. It's not just about the quantity. You need to get your sleep, but you need to stay focused on exactly what you should be doing during the day. And one of the steps I'm going to teach you is about getting organized using Kanban principles. And I use it. If I could show you my wall here in my studio, I use Kanban principles that I know exactly what tasks are in progress, what I need to work on and what I've completed. So Brandon, we're going to get through that topic with you in the session. And as you say there, sleep is key. I received cum laude for my undergrad and honors, and I never got less than 8 hours sleep every night. There we go. Cara, thanks for joining again. You're a regular supporter. And Cara is one of our mentors in the Facebook group. So she's, I think she's already got someone, so I don't know how many she's able to take. But her advice to Brandon there is to get sleep. I mean, and that's one of the coaching videos that I put on the YouTube channel, and I put out regular coaching videos where I do say that you absolutely have to sleep, because your brain is subconsciously solving problems. So in actual fact, on the point of sleep, the thing that you do just before you go to sleep is actually what's going to determine the benefits that you get from sleep. So if you're trying to solve a complex problem or think about a difficult topic, you often want to do that just not immediately before you go to sleep, but just late in the evening. And then your brain subconsciously will still be processing that. You wake up in the morning and you actually think to yourself, I've got new perspective on solving that problem. Okay. Megan, hi Megan, how's it? It's so much more difficult to get things done while we're, I absolutely 100% agree with you. We've all got personal lives, family lives, deliveries at the door, neighbors, dog barking, lots of other challenges. So Megan, the best that I can offer you is the support that you get from communities like this one, where you can come into the Facebook group, you can just share your frustration, offload as much as you want to, and we're going to be there to support you and encourage you and just say, look, tomorrow is going to be a better day and the next day is going to be a better day. And if you didn't get through everything today, it's okay. So please join in the Facebook group. I put the link in the chat there. I know it's difficult to get things done while you're working home. And Kanban possibly is something that you might want to think about in your home life as well. And I'll teach you those principles when we get there. All right, so let's get cracking on the topic for today, which is the 6 steps to student success. And the first step there, guys, is at the bottom there, to actually make sure that you develop a habit of reading, writing, and thinking, and pull those together and make sure that you're doing them on a regular basis and you're forming a habit out of it. And that's a foundational habit that you need to put in place. So despite all the other things that you need to do, distractions at home, the deadlines that you have, reading, writing, and thinking, the integral, it's like breathing and drinking water and eating food. For a student, if you're not, intentionally reading, thinking, and writing about your topic, about your studies, about your subject, you're not going to get off first base. And that's a sort of a foundational base camp level before you move up this path to success. And we're going to go through each one of these in some more detail. And please do make sure that you pop any comments in there as we go. Cara says she's definitely able to take on more students to mentor. Wonderful, Cara, fantastic news. So there we have, Cara's doing her honors, I think, this year, or masters, and she's willing to put the time in to mentor and support other students. And that's what I'm doing with this platform. I wish that I had this community. I wish that I had the support and all the content and the coaching and the courses that I create, all the things that I wish I'd had when I was a student. And I put my time into it because I believe that students are going to solve the big problems of the world. If we're doing good, rigorous academic research on the big topics that we have available to us at universities and institutions, those are the things that the world needs to help us get through the significant problems that we all face as humanity. Okay, second step up the ladder, if you like, or the next sort of important step that you want to take. And I'm extremely, extremely practical in all my content and all my courses and all my coaching. I want to make it really practical for you. Like I've said to Muhammad earlier, what is it that you're going to do today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday that you're going to commit to us? So setting up your weekly supervisor status report, I can absolutely say that in my own PhD, my weekly supervisor status report was one of the most critical things that kept me going. And I'll take you through the details of it just now, but it really builds a momentum. It draws on Kanban principles. It streamlines your communication with your supervisors. And even if you don't have a supervisor, even if you're not doing research, get a mentor like Cara or somebody and commit to sending them a weekly email with an update on what you're doing. And I'll teach you in more detail in the course, but we'll touch on it in this webinar today, what goes in that email or that status report that you then provide on a weekly basis. Okay, then as we've heard just now, people struggling to get things done, distractions at home, etc. So in the third step there, I teach you to plan and master your tasks from to do to done. And Kanban boards are based on visualizing workflow. So you probably see them in action, but you maybe not really thought through or understood what the principles are behind them. And that's exactly what I do in more detail in the course, and we'll touch on obviously now in the webinar. And when you've got your tasks up on a board, it just helps you focus in. And as long as you've got the right tasks up there, I'll teach you how to apply principles to get the benefits from Kanban. I just want to answer this question here, Matapelo and Kambule. How do we get hold of you, Cara? I can do the mentor this year. It's my final year, and I want to do really good. Okay, so Matapelo, I just want to copy this link in here because you will be able to get in touch with Cara in our exclusive members-only Facebook group. And you hop on there, and you'll see at the top of the page a mentorship button, and you can click that mentorship button in there, and you can then go and hook up with Cara. And obviously it's managed, through the group and everything, and you guys can connect and so on. But that's really the structure that we've created within the members only Facebook group. And in fact, next week's interview with Meredith Wiseman is talking about some of these aspects of academic student support. And so people who are sort of doing mentoring and need, the support of a mentor and need to understand a bit more around, how to get motivated and manage stress and so on, we're going to talk to Meredith Wiseman. She's a researcher in these topics. That'll be the interview for next week. Mahal asked, is the video going to be saved for reviewing? So Mahal, the very same link that you came to today is going to be the recording of this whole video. So what I really would like you to do, Mahal, is to hop onto the YouTube channel on a regular basis, and you'll get lots of other videos and content as I make them available. So please, guys, do go and subscribe for regular coaching tips on the YouTube channel. And that's where you'll get not only today's webinar recording, but all the previous webinar recordings. So Mahal, we've had webinar recordings last week on proposals. We interviewed a double PhD, Dr. Jeff, at the end of last year. We had an outstanding interview with a guy by the name of Bubu Bana, and he was talking about a student jobs platform. So, like Fiverr or Freelance, whatever, this is a South African version for students that specifically will link you with micro work and freelance short-term contracts, etc., while you're still studying. And he's got a network of employees that also come in on that same platform, and that was, I think, jobboxsa.co.za. You go and check out all those webinars in the platform there. Okay, so lots of compliments coming through there for you, Cara. So well done to you. That's very encouraging. So I want to just encourage Cara on her journey as a mentor, taking that on while she's also studying herself and needing to get through her own degree. Okay, so we were on step number 3 there, and now step number 4, and again, as I say, very much sort of research-based aspects of your study. And maybe it's just a module, maybe you're doing a full 100% research PhD or master's, but at some point at a more advanced level of academic study, you're going to need to do research. And, when I coach people and talk to them, and have taught thousands and coached many over the years, they get stuck on this, the need to get a proposal done, and not just to get through the formal step of having it approved by your institution, but setting the foundation for the actual research work that you're going to do. And then step 5 just builds on this topic that I'm so passionate about, which is writing. And in the course, I'll teach you in a lot more detail there. We'll touch on some principles now, but you'll need to learn writing practices for meaning and clarity. If you cannot write, and writing needs to proceed from good thinking and background reading, and you write so that you improve your thinking and your reading, but you are going to have to write, for your reader, and your reader is going to be your examiner, your supervisor, editorial board of a journal, for example. And if you cannot write with meaning and clarity, I've been teaching workshops at WITS for the last 5 years on writing practices. I've got a lot of content and courses on writing, and I just believe it's that crucial step that you need to have ready, if not perfectly sorted by your proposal. And that's why I put it there, sort of a little bit later on, for your final report or your last, dissertation or the final written deliverable that you need to produce as a result of your research. You absolutely have to get your writing absolutely top-notch there. So we'll go through that quite a little bit there. Ofen says, what's the name of the platform? It's Jobbox. sa.co.za. So just go Google Jobbox South Africa, and you can hop on there and then go and watch that full interview. It's actually a wonderful interview. Bubu is a fantastic guy. So we had a lot of fun. Those of you that were in the webinar, we spoke about Kanban. We spoke about some of the things that he's seeing students struggle with when they go and do these freelance short-term contracts with employers. And it's so important for students. Guys, you're going to have to start careers at some point. Get workplace experience now, even before you have to put your CV together, and before you have to go for interviews and apply for jobs. If you've got some experience, and of course you can earn some cash, it's a local South African platform, so we need to support it as much as possible. I just want to mention Stanford here. I need help with writing a conceptual paper. Every time I write something, I feel like it's not good enough. Fantastic. So Stanford, let me just quickly touch on that one. So there's two types of writing. There's generative writing, where you're writing for yourself. And when I coach people that are struggling to write and they don't know what to write, I say to them, write that down. Write, I don't know what to write. And then write again, I don't know what to write. And slowly but surely, you'll start to free up the blockages in your brain. But you have to do that by actually writing, even though the first draft of your writing that comes out is not going to be perfect. Once you've got that flow between your thinking and your writing, and you do that as often as you possibly can, and I always talk about writing early, not just during the day, but during your studies, write often and write well, of course. Now, writing often is what we're talking about here. You need to be writing every day. And if it's just generative writing, so getting your thinking onto paper, doesn't have to be perfect. You can always go back and edit it, okay? But if you don't have that basic level right, and you're not, you're producing a lot of words even just for yourself on a regular basis, you're not going to be able to edit that and convert that into something that's going to be good enough, for somebody that needs to see it and actually assess it, which is then the next step. You're not going to be able to go from thinking and reading to writing a paper. There's a massive step in the middle there that people miss, where you do a lot of generative writing that no one is going to judge you for, no one is going to assess, but which is critical for you to actually be successful in the next stage of writing. All right, guys, let's just move on then to this first step, and linking in, I think, with what we were talking about just now, which is to develop a habit of reading, thinking, and writing. So you're doing a topic, you're immersed in it, or you're passionate about it at least, and you went into it, and whatever, if it's a research problem that you're trying to solve, if it's an area of passion or a career objective that you have, and the study is a path to get into that career, etc., you need to read to immerse yourself. You need to read to absorb, and you need to read to understand the landscape of relevant literature. You need to understand what are the conflicting opinions out there. And I always advise that you should do that very intentionally. So start with some specific questions. You can always diverge from those questions, but get a journal, make notes as you're reading, write down some specific questions. And then, as we've been saying now, the more you read and the more you think and the more you write, the better you're able to select what material is going to be useful for you to read more of. And sometimes it can be intimidating that there is a lot of material out there to read. Should you read this article or that one? Journal articles especially, it's good to be able to scan those, because you're not going to be able to read all of them in detail. And I have another course called How to Reference Effectively Using EndNote. And in there, I teach you a principle of how to rate references. It's got a star rating system in there so that you can very quickly group the references and the reading material that is most useful for yourself. And then, as I said to Mohammed just now, or the question that was raised just now, write first for yourself, then for others. So, whether you've got a journal or you use OneNote or Trello or anything digital or physical, absolutely doesn't matter. But you absolutely have to be writing for yourself first. So let's say you're procrastinating to make some progress on this conceptual paper that you need to write. My challenge to you, and my coaching action that I want you to take from this, is to go and write a page of bullet points. You can send it to me on the Facebook group, no problem. I will have a look at it. But it's ultimately just going to be for you. And I want you, just without too much thinking or judgment of what you're writing down, fill a page of bullet points. It doesn't even have to be bullet points. Just write continuously, and just open up, your ability to write and get words down on paper. So if you are struggling with writing, contact me in the Facebook group, and do that one page of generative writing over the weekend. And then once you've got that content, then, as I say, you can chop and change and add to it, and you've got the confidence that you've overcome procrastination. You've at least got something down on paper, and from there you can start moving. And often the biggest thing with procrastination and even writing is often just to get started. And that's why writing down, I don't know what to write, means you're still writing. And then slowly but surely it's going to start to make more sense. All right, then this weekly supervisor status report. Now, your relationship with your supervisor is going to be massively important. And obviously you must make the right choice of a supervisor. And I'm not saying that this will solve all problems with all supervisors. You must, obviously make your best effort, and they must as well. But presuming you have a good relationship with your supervisor, someone that you feel you can trust and that will guide you properly, then a weekly supervisor status report is a mechanism that structures your relationship with your supervisor. Now think about this. They will have a bunch of other students they need to manage. You've got the urgency of deadlines and the passion of your topic, etc. They will really value a structured form of communication with them. So I got into the discipline in my PhD of sending my supervisors, and I had 3 supervisors. So you can imagine sometimes, even just managing one is difficult. I had 3. So I said to them right up front, I said, I'm going to send you 1 email per week with my status report. And I'm going to consolidate in that status report everything that I think you need to know or that I want you to be aware of, and which I want to use to drive my own progress. And once I got into the discipline and the habit of sending that single email, and I used to do it on a Sunday night, so I got into a habit. It was a pattern for me. Every Sunday night, I knew I owed my supervisor a status report. Now, look, if I didn't send it, they weren't going to chase me. I'm a PhD student. It's my degree. Maybe 2 months would pass and they'd say, I haven't heard from Peter for a while. So it's very much more for yourself. And that's why these steps are proactive steps that you have to take. You have to take action to be successful as a student. And certainly that's much more at the higher levels than early on, like in high school and in early stages of varsity. And as I say there, in that status report, it's very simple. There's no long templates. And in fact, in the ebook that I'm going to provide you with today for free, you'll actually see a format of the status report that I used. I copied it directly out of one of my status reports. And all you need to do there is you list the 5 things that you did last week, just the top 5 things. And focus on outcomes. It shouldn't be too much, activity. If you manage to read 5 articles, that's good. Write 5 articles. Put that in. That's 1 bullet point. If you manage to write 200 words on your assignment, you put that in. And then you list the 5 things that you're going to do the next week. And don't be too ambitious. Put there 5 things that you can commit to, because when you come around to the same time next week, you're going to look at what you committed the previous week. And you say, which of those things did I manage to do? And then I can move them into the done column. And this is the Kanban principles that we're talking about just now. And because you've committed, or you're making your best effort to put everything into the single email, you're not going to flood your supervisor with lots of emails during the week. Now, there might be times when it is busy, and you need to email stuff, and there's meetings happening, and it's just urgent, and you can't wait. But on the normal course of events, and I did 4 years of a PhD, and I would honestly say that for 80–90% of the weeks in my 4 years, I sent my supervisors 1 email per week. Now it adds up. So I ended up sending 360 status reports. Now let's say you've got a 1-year research module, or 2 years, whatever the case may be. It's going to be 50 or so for a year, and 100 for 2 years, whatever the case may be. That's still a lot of emails. So the worst thing you can do is to get lost in your supervisor's inbox. But if you create this pattern for yourself and you get your supervisors used to it, and for my supervisors, it became a habit for all of us. And in the subject line, and I actually teach you in the course, and you can see it in the ebook, put the number of the week that you are in your degree. So count it from when you registered, or from the first week of the year. For me, I counted it from the time I actually started preparing for my proposal. So they could clearly see week number 175, status report is green. These are the 5 things I did last week. These are the 5 things I'm going to do next week. And then I attached to that supervisor status report any artifacts or writing or documents, whatever the case would be, that I maybe needed them to review. I didn't just send it off as soon as I had it available, because again, it's going to get lost. So if they are focused on your status report and you need them to review something, then wait until the time when you're going to send it every week, and then attach it in there and say, to accomplish next week, you actually say, get feedback from a supervisor. So you're actually putting that action on them. There's a dependency for your progress on them to review that and send it back to you. So again, don't send lots of emails with lots of attachments during the week. Now, there's 2 things that happen when you don't have good progress from week to week. And there were times in my PhD when I dreaded sitting down to put my supervisor status report together, because I just hadn't got anything done. And I sat down. Thanks, Bongani. Appreciate this. I feel so passionate about this. I would sit down on a Sunday night and I would literally just, in that status report, I would say, nothing done, no progress. And then that would make me think, well, can I really get something done this week? Maybe I'm going through a busy period at work or whatever the case be. And I was studying part-time, and I'm sure many of you guys are studying part-time as well. So life happens, and we've heard just now it's difficult working at home, etc. So now I thought to myself, I didn't get anything done last week. I don't want to have to tell them next week that I've done nothing. So what is 1 or 2 or 3 things that I can put in that column for completing next week that I know I can get done, that I absolutely have no question of being able to accomplish? And I put that down. And then that week would go by, boom, and I'd come back, sit at my desk Sunday night. Okay, brilliant. Now I know I can put those things in the done column and send that to my supervisor. And then depending on the cycles that you have in your degree, you'll have some of those weeks, and that will get you out of that trough. It'll get you out of that procrastination, little bit by little bit, task by task, week by week. Now, on the other side of the coin, sometimes it goes really well, and you're reading and you're writing and you're making progress. You're a successful student, and that's fantastic. And the temptation there is to send your supervisor, look at this, look at that, look at the next thing, boom, 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 boom. And they hear lots from you in that week or whatever. Don't do it. Wait until your weekly spot when you're going to send it to them, then consolidate all of that in there and enjoy writing that status report and say, I've completed my discussion paper. I've completed reading these 5 references. I'd like you to review the attached article. Consolidate all of that information, put it into the weekly status report. Okay, so in the course, I go through a lot more detail. I show you my own status report actually in the ebook version of this course, both of which I'm going to give you for free just now. So Bongani, thanks very much. I like the supervisor status report advice as well. I didn't change my format at all for 4 years of a PhD, and you don't need to either. Just use mine, copy, paste, just apply it and do it. The hardest thing is going to be just to pick that time in the week and then to do it every single. We had a question in one of the webinars whether you have to discuss this with your supervisor. I would suggest that you do, but your supervisor is going to be more interested in seeing whether you can keep it up. They're going to say, look, great, yeah, if you want to structure our relationship, fantastic, go for it. It's your degree, you need to be proactive about it. They're going to watch and see if you're able to keep it up. So that's actually what you need to be more concerned about. But again, coming to the Facebook group, we'll encourage you to keep going and to stay focused on things like the weekly status report. Okay, let's move. Now, step number 3, and this was just, we had a couple of questions earlier on how do you get organized. Kanban boards, powerful to visualize your workflow. There's digital tools, up to you. I teach both. I give you demos on both. But the simplest version, and I've seen this on people's fridges, on their cupboards, so we've all got hectic personal lives. Just find a wall somewhere where you can just put 3 columns. Simple. Simple, simple, simple. The left column is going to be to do. And we've all got notebooks, we've all got stickies floating all over the place. But try and put it on this one Kanban board that you set up for yourself. And then in the middle column is going to be your in progress column. And a principle of Kanban is to limit work in progress. Don't put too much in that middle column. Just like I said to you now, don't commit to doing too much in the next week for your supervisor. Don't create your own expectations that you can't deliver on by putting a lot in that in progress column. Think deeply about which sticky you take out of the to do and put in the in progress column. Because then that in progress column, when you're busy, when you're stressed, and when you can't get through life and you're having a bad day, at the very least, you're going to look at that in progress column. Like I would just look at that commitment that I've made to my supervisors. What is the minimum that I need to get? And that's what's in your in progress column. And then when it's done, you move it from in progress to the 3rd column, which is done. And then you celebrate. And then you celebrate. You stick that in your supervisor report. Obviously, don't flood them. If there's bigger tasks, and I've used it for home projects in my course on Kanban, where I go into a little more detail, I give people an assignment to set up a Kanban board and to put that back into the course that I can have a look at. And one lady actually started planning her wedding using Kanban principles, and she listed, so I said, okay, give me your to-do tasks, your in-progress tasks, and your done tasks. And she was talking about all the things she had to do to get her wedding done, which is fantastic. Now, the last point just on Kanban is a thing called cadence, which don't worry about it, but if you're a cyclist, you know that cyclists keep a constant speed at the pedals, and then they gear up or down based on whether they're going up or down a hill. Now, cadence is just a weekly update on that board, but you must do it every single week or every day if you want. It's a personal Kanban board. Maybe you wake up in the morning, stand at your desk, and you have a look at your Kanban board every morning, 8 o'clock, whatever. But that's the other thing that you have to stick to. So just like you stick to a weekly time and day for your weekly supervisor status report, stick to a weekly update on that Kanban board. And obviously it's a lot less, formal than your weekly supervisor status report. You will obviously use these to feed that. And you can do either or both, it's up to you. But that regular updating of your board is the cadence that you need to get you through your degree. Because remember, a PhD or anything, getting a rocket to Mars consists of individual tasks. Doing a 4-year PhD is actually just a series of tasks. Getting your assignment completed and submitted, by next Friday is just a series of tasks. And if you can break those tasks down and you can understand what and when you need to focus on, you're going to be successful. And that's what this is all about, is student success. Okay, guys, give me some feedback now. Is this making sense to you? Gaby, Gaby, fantastic to have you. This is absolutely fantastic. So Gaby, we're going to have Gaby on one of the future webinars. And Gaby, maybe let's just, Gaby, please put your details in the chat there so that people can click onto your thesis coach website. So if you're writing a thesis or you're busy with a big writing project, please contact Gaby, and she can coach you and help you through a lot more of those detailed aspects of getting through your thesis. So Gaby, I'll put you up there. Please pop a comment or a hyperlink into your, or go find Gaby on LinkedIn, or just Google for her and get in touch with her. And she's really good. She'll help you, and we'll have her on the webinar as soon as possible. I'll let you know what that date's going to be. All right, guys, moving on. Now we get into, the sort of milestones, the formal milestones in your research-based study. And here, we're talking about proposals. We had the full webinar last week was all about proposals, so you can go and look at that recording. But really, just to break it down and summarize it very quickly, your proposal needs to answer 3 things. What are you studying? Why are you studying? And how are you going to do it? And if you get those right, that's going to be about 80% of your actual proposal document. There's other peripheral things that sort of fit around that. And remember that if you do a good proposal, a lot of that can be reused in your actual thesis. Now, your academic voice is going to become a lot more confident because you're getting to grips with the literature, you're actually applying the methodology that you've been talking about, etc. But the more effort that you put into a good proposal, the more it's going to pay off, not only when you have to write up your final document, but also during your study, because in your proposal are the things that are going to keep you focused and directed. So a good thesis statement, like I mentioned there, will be your North Star. To keep you focused. It will scope out. I think last week, I showed you the whiteboard lesson where I sort of draw a box around a thesis statement, and I say, well, it must be unambiguous. It must be testable. It must be, feasible to complete in a limited period of time. And within that thesis statement, you might have concepts that you need to define in your proposal, etc. And the what there, it talks to the contribution that you make through your research, which is you need to define that. You need to think about how is your research going to contribute to the world around us. But then the why is a measure of the significance of that contribution. And that's going to change over time. So people developing vaccines for COVID, 5 years ago versus today, you can imagine the massive difference in significance that that's having for the world. It's literally saving humanity. Zoe says, thank you for the session. It's really given me a good start for this year. Wasted a lot of time last year. This is very useful for me. Zoe, everyone wasted a lot of time last year. We all had days we got nothing done. We just, didn't get out of our pajamas the whole day. We sat on the couch. It was a bad year. But we're going to pick ourselves up. We're going to go forward. And I want you just to focus on task by task, day by day, to avoid that time wasting, get productive, get proactive, build cadence, use Kanban principles, build a good relationship with your supervisor. All of these things that I'm coaching you with and that you now can go and take action with will help you then make sure that this year is not wasted and that you've got another chance to make the progress that you need to, or catch up even on what you didn't get to last year. And I want to encourage you that you are going to be able to do that. And once again, pop into the members only Facebook group and just vent if you need to there, or share. Every now and again we run a bit of a burn your boats challenge, and I sort of say, guys, okay, let's all commit to something we're going to do in the next few days, and then we just comment in there what we're going to do, and then we come back and we just reply to that comment and just say, yeah, done it, tick, and then happy face emoji, fantastic, thumbs up. It's just that little boost. And it's often a lonely journey to be, an academic student at all levels, and especially when we haven't been able to go onto campus, we've been locked down and shut at home. So these sessions help a little bit with that. The community helps a little bit with that, but you just need to do all these things that make it easier for you. And maybe just to mention that we've actually got the podcast going. So the podcast is up and running, and on a weekly basis, I think pretty much every Wednesday morning, I interview successful students in the podcast. And you can go and listen to those, and I'm going to put the link on there. And we're live on Spotify and Google and a couple of other platforms. So the link I'm going to give you now is to Spotify. And so in fact, last week I interviewed a senior lecturer at WITS, and he had some interesting perspectives on student life. I've interviewed a lady that was doing a PhD, and she says in the interview she had to rock her baby, her 6-month-old baby, while she was writing up her report. So that it is, things, just that inspiration. And I love podcasts because then you can get away from your device, go for a walk, put your headphones on, go for a run at the gym. But I will give you that inspiration through my interviews of these successful students on the podcast. So please do go and check out the podcast, just by way of responding to some of the challenges that you guys have been mentioning here. Right, Luli, thanks. Love the Kanban board, really sounds helpful. Yeah, I use it in my own life, so I don't teach anything that I haven't tested or seen work in my own life. Then writing practices for meaning and clarity. So there's very practical things that you can do to improve your writing, and I teach pretty much 4 in the course. And the first one is make your subjects real. And you can't believe how often we turn what should be the people, person, or the place as the subject of our sentence, we turn it into an abstract concept. So we don't have too much time to get into a lot of detail now. In the ebook, I actually give you some examples, and I say, look at the sentence, look at the sentence. In this sentence, the subject is real. In this subject, the subject is abstract. So you're comparing subjects now between the 2 sentences in the ebook. And you'll just see that the sentence that makes the subject clear and meaningful is the clearer and easier to understand sentence. Same thing with verbs. Keep them in their original form of action. Don't nominalize a verb. You clutter your sentence with other words when you do that. And then practice old before new. And again, in the ebook, I actually draw a picture, and it's in the course. And I show you, all right, so look at these 2 sentences. And I say the first sentence introduces something at the beginning, a certain concept, and then at the end. Now, the second sentence should not introduce a third new concept at the beginning. It should rather reinforce one of the concepts in the previous sentence before introducing that third concept at the end of the second sentence. Why is that? Because your reader is going to be exerting subconscious effort to get through your writing. And if you're bombarding them with constantly new topics, they're going to get exhausted and they're going to struggle to read your writing. Now, the temptation is we want to push this new concept. We're proud of our work. We want to show how clever we are potentially. And all it is about changing the order of when you put certain topics in your sentences. And the same with complexity last. Don't start your sentences with complex topics. Put them at the end. Rather let your reader build up to a complex topic. It gives them a chance to acclimatize. They are not as close to your work as you are. You need to give your reader, whether it's a supervisor, an examiner, or even a lay person especially, give them a chance to acclimatize. That's the reason there's an introduction at the beginning of your work. You don't just dive into the results. You let them get into it. You have to do that at a sentence level. Because if every one of your sentences is bombarding your readers with new or complex information right at the beginning, they will get exhausted. So you need to be your own editor of your work. And when you go and read other material, just look at this and say, have they made their subjects real? Have they made their verbs real and in the action doing form of it? And then are they practicing this idea of complexity last and old before new? And those are just 4 practices that you'll pick up in the course, and I think will help you make your writing a lot more meaningful and clearer. And then, of course, right, you are going to be successful because you will need to write and pass your final report, thesis, or dissertation. And in the course, and it's the biggest section of the course, I go through it in a lot of detail. I say, okay, guys, and I teach you, this is what's got to go in the introduction. Then I take you through my own introduction, and I scroll through my own thesis document for my PhD. And then I say, remember what I taught you? Look at what I did here in my own introduction. I do the same for the literature review. I do the same for the methodology. I do the same for the results. I do the same for the conclusion. And the PhD document is in the course. You can download and grab it and pick up, further inspiration and reuse from that. And of course, people like Gabby will also help you and get you through. Now, I'm not saying that the structure that I teach there between faculties, there's going to be lots of differences. Your supervisors might expect differences. A quantitative medical study is going to look very different to a qualitative humanities study. But that might be more in the results section and possibly in some other areas. But generally speaking, in academia, there's a well-accepted format, which I've sort of put there up on the screen. Like you might call it different. Like in my PhD, you'll see it if you do the course, and I hope that you all do. So please go and have a look at it. Methodology, I call research process, because methodology is actually one part of it. So there's a whole process that I go through to do research as a PhD student. But effectively, it's the methodology section. So that's what you're going to get in that section of the course, is to learn how to write and pass your final report, thesis, or dissertation. And what I really would advise to you guys is do it now. Learn now. Stephen Covey says, think with the end in mind. So learn now what you're going to be working towards. And also, once you've gone through the proposal step and you understand what's reusable, a lot of the introduction, a lot of the literature, a lot of the methodology, etc., I actually advise my students, once you've had your proposal approved, set up your final document immediately. Just set up that structure. And as you go through your study, put things in there that come up. And I suggest to a lot of people is use your appendices. So put things in your appendices that maybe don't fit in the flow of your document, but if you leave it on a folder in your file somewhere or on your work laptop and it's not on your home laptop, and when you sit down to do your final report and you're under pressure in those last few months, you are going to struggle to remember all of those wonderful things. But if you treat it like a bit of a filing system and you put it in there from now and on a regular basis as you go throughout your degree, it's there for you. You've done it. You don't even have to think about it. That's a task on your Kanban board that moves into done because it's in the final report. You're ultimately, yes, going to edit things and move things around and cut things down and change things. And you might move things from your appendix into the main body of the report. You might move things from the main body of the report into the appendix. But treat your final report as a bit of a filing system. Put your proposal content in there. Put other things in the appendices. Obviously, your results, conclusion, discussion, etc., that you can't do until you've gone through your actual study, gathered your data, and done the analysis, etc. Okay. Gaby, I see people asking for a link to your postgrad platform. I think it's thesiscoach.co.za, just off the top of my head, but Gaby can confirm that if she's still in the session. Kuneni, apologies, I'm glad I made the session. Very informative, practical. I sent a request to join the Facebook group. Well, the first thing I'm going to do, my first task when I get off this call in the next 10 minutes is to go and approve your member request there. So welcome, and it's going to be great to have you in the Facebook group. And guys, really, that's it. So those are the 6 steps. I'm going to put the link out now for both the course and the ebook. And this is, the end goal that you want to accomplish is that successful celebration. And hopefully, we'll be able to do it together. When I was meant to graduate from my PhD, which was right in the middle of lockdowns, and Wits obviously didn't have graduation ceremony. So I spent 4 years of my PhD visualizing walking across the Wits stage in the Great Hall there, and it never happened. So always just be aware of the expectations that you create, but at least it's something that you can share once again in the Facebook group, and we can celebrate for you. Okay, let's just show you very quickly then. So this is the course Student Success Masterclass 6 Steps to Complete Your Degree. Now guys, if you've had any value from today's session or that you get from the course, please rate and review the course. Just give a detailed review, couple of sentences, give me a rating on there. It is so important for me to be able to get the word out, to get this content to more people, and obviously to continue to improve it and improve the coaching that I do for everybody else. That's then what you get inside the course. That's the content. So there's 5.5 hours. It's a premium masterclass that I would really advise that you go through maybe over a few days. Go in and out of each of the sections. After each section, which is the 6 steps, there's activities and steps that you can take, to apply your learnings and really move through these steps. But you need to complete the 6 steps so that you actually prepare yourself for a journey of being a successful student. So that when you come to doing your proposal, when you come to doing your thesis, when you come to doing good writing, you've actually had these lessons, you've had these learnings, and you're prepared and ready to go through it even before you get there. And as I say, those downloadable resources there, that's my PhD document. I put my proposal in there as well. I put my proposal presentation in there. There's lots of links to lots of other resources in the course there as well. So there's me teaching inside the course. When you click the link and enroll, which I want you to do straight after this webinar, so that you've got in there before the link expires, and you'll always have access to the course forever. It's never going to be taken away. It'll always be there. You take this link now and you'll be able to go in there, and I'll continue updating it. There's announcements that will go in there. We create a community in there. You'll be able to introduce yourself to other students in the course, etc. There's one of my signature whiteboard lessons. So once again, I just break it down on a whiteboard for you, and I show you the 6 steps to student success, and I talk them through. People love these whiteboard lessons because it just makes it so practical and real for them. And to be honest, this is what I did when I was, as a corporate guy and a consultant, in the office. When we were going into the office, I would be spending most of my day around whiteboards, explaining concepts, creating consensus, drawing pictures to connect things together. And that's what we're doing as students. And that's what I'm doing in this course to help you be successful as a student. So then you're going to get, lessons, for each of the steps that will then, take you through what you need to do. There'll be some activities that you need to take and some resources to support those activities. And then, as I said, I actually walk you through my own PhD document in the course, and I narrate that, and I say, look at what I did here, 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 and here, and I link it back to the lessons that you'll have learned in the course. And then there's also a link, and I put the link to the podcast in the chat just now, but you'll also find a link in the course to a specific episode where I interview a senior lecturer from WITS who talks very candidly about writing and discipline and how to support students and the evolving role of lecturers. And he's very open and honest about this. So you'll find that link in the course or either on the podcast platform. If you go through the link that I shared on the chat, it's all available and free, obviously. And if you listen on podcast, it's there. And it's available on a number of other platforms. You're just going to have to go and search for the Student Success Coach. But this was really a stunning interview with that lecturer. He helped me through my own PhD, and we talk about a lot of the type of issues that we've been speaking about today. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just share the link, and it is free access today. So you actually have to click this link now and then go in there and enroll straight away. Just enroll. You'll immediately get a welcome message from me into the course. And then, as I say, just plan over the next couple of days to go back into it, and you'll pop up as a student of mine. You can ask me questions, we can interact, I can monitor your progress, and I can just prompt you to get through the course and make sure that you are setting yourself up. Now, the 5 hours or so, yes, you need to put the time aside, but it's going to save you hours and days and weeks potentially. And like we've heard just now, you don't want to waste a year. Set yourself up in 2021 with the best chance of success by getting these principles and practices locked in and learned, and then you apply them, and you're actually going to save massive amounts of time during the year as you apply them in your studies. So click the link in the chat. Please rate and review the course. I think it'll ask you for a rating review sort of early on during the course, but just please rate and review the course. Obviously, share it with your friends. You can take that link. It's unlimited access. You can share it with your friends, put it on your groups. By all means, get the word out there, and I will, interact and answer any questions that come through inside the course and support people to achieve their goals of learning and applying the 6 steps to student success. So that's the course. So you can go and pick that up. And then what I'm absolutely so thrilled about, and what I've realized is something that I'm going to do a lot more of, is I've actually then also written in conjunction with the interactive course that you get when you click on that link and you enroll. I've provided a free ebook, which is the sort of book version, if you like, in the Amazon Kindle store of the course. So it's based on the course. There's some complementary material. Obviously, you don't get the interactive lessons, get that from the course. You're going to get the best of both worlds. So it is for free on Amazon Open Marketplace today. So click that link and go in and grab that for me. You can always get it for free if you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber. Now, you may not be a Kindle Unlimited subscriber. I believe it's a great program. I've signed in to make my title available into that set of titles, but I can also give my book away for free to everyone on Amazon every now and again. So I've opened that up just for today, and you can go in there and you can grab it. And once again, you absolutely have to please commit to rating and reviewing my courses and my books and my content, and coming into the members only Facebook group to give us that feedback, to get the inspiration and the support that you need to be successful as a student. Right, so we are starting to come to the end of our time together today, guys. And I really just want to reiterate the importance of taking action and making sure that, day by day, you're moving yourself forward, you're applying, the lessons that you've learned in the webinar today, and that you are able to see the progress that you need to make on your journey to success. And it's really going to come down to the basics. It's going to come down to how well did you use your time? How well did you use your hour? How well did you use today? How well did you use tomorrow, the weekend? To the gentleman that I asked at the beginning, I don't know if he put a comment on here in terms of whether he committed and burnt his boats about something, but you are more than welcome to hop into the members only Facebook group and do exactly the same thing there, and we'll cheer you on. I promise you, everyone is so supportive inside the members only Facebook group. It's actually incredible, and it's just wonderful to see that we've got such a supportive group of people helping us all get through these trying and difficult times, not just because of COVID and lockdowns and everything else, but also just it's tough to get studies done. It's a lonely, difficult journey sometimes. And if you want that regular coaching, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I put the link there. Just subscribe, hop on now, do that, take action, subscribe, you'll get those updates. What I also do is I also go and pick up a lot of the questions in the chat that I didn't get to in the webinar, and I then record a specific video answering that question specifically. So you'll get that if you subscribe. It'll pop up and you can check that out, and if that question is relevant for you, then I'll answer it, and we'll get some comments going in the description and the comments on the video, etc. So please do also subscribe to the YouTube channel to make sure that you get that benefit on a regular basis. And then the last thing just to say is that I'd really love you guys to sign up to the mailing list, which you can pick up on the website there that I've mentioned there, but you can also just click this link here, and then I pop out a weekly email. So please make sure it doesn't drop in your spam. So if you sign up there, you will get a confirmation email. Click that link, and then you'll get on a weekly basis, and also when I launch new courses in the future. And I launch courses on a range of other topics. If you go onto my page on Udemy, you'll see I teach on digital transformation, I teach on management consulting, I teach on procurement. So all of that you will get, promotional updates and lots of value for being part of that mailing list. Okay, so we're coming to the end now, guys, and I just wanted to mention that next week, as I said earlier on, we've got Meredith Wiseman, who is a student success coach or a student success researcher in New Zealand. So we've put a link in the Facebook group for a survey that she would like you to complete. So please do take 1 or 2 minutes and complete that survey. Come into the Facebook group and you'll get the link. But we'll also, promote it and, give you the information next week as well, when she will talk about, things like stress, things like, learning to manage stress, things like action coaching, and things that you can do, and practical things that you can do to bridge from your studies to your practice. And those of you that have been in my interview webinars, so we do coaching webinars like today, or we do interview webinars, it's always fun. I always get great guests on there, and I ask them the tough questions, and then you can put your questions in the chat, and I'll ask those tough questions as well to the person that we've got on the show. So let's just have a look. Taku really needed this. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Well, that's great. Grounded, thank you so much for the presentation. Really appreciate that. To Melo, thank you very much for this informative lesson. I needed this so much as I'm struggling to start. The first step is very important for me to be off the ground. Absolutely. It is often just the first step. The Chinese say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And often if you just take that one step, you actually unlock all the other steps. And here's the thing, Tumelo. Start before you're ready. You're never going to be 100% ready. Just start. Just burn your boats, come into the Facebook group, tell us I'm going to write 200 words or complete whatever deliverable is that you're struggling to start with. We'll encourage you, we'll give you further advice, and then you absolutely just have to go out there and do it. Martha, thank you so much. Gained so much needed insights and tools. It's absolutely a pleasure. Like I said before, the things that I talk about in my courses and everything that I provide to you is what I feel like I would have wanted, when I was a student. So the feedback that you give me, the ratings, the reviews helps me improve these webinars. And, guys, please join us every week, Friday at 12 o'clock. We're going to do it every week this year. Everybody has to have lunch, take a break. And if you join in, you take action, you learn something, you actually improve your workflow, your progress when you get back to your desk. So the time that you spend together, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to get a lot of benefits. You're going to get a free ebook today. You're going to get access to a free premium masterclass of 5 hours. Plus, you're going to improve your productivity and your progress in terms of being a successful student. So to everybody that's joined us today, I really do appreciate you joining us. Please do make sure that you spread the word. You can share the links that I've put out today. People can go and grab those. You'll be a hero if you talk about this webinar and you say, look, guys, the guy on the webinar said that you can also access these. So please do provide those links and people can also benefit from it. But cheers, please pass on the word to your friends and take action to be successful. I mean, I think that's the most important thing, but then those actions must take you through those 6 steps on your journey to student success. So everybody, thanks very much for joining. Take action, click on those links, go and enroll in the course, go and grab a copy on Amazon, join us in the members only Facebook group, go and subscribe onto the podcast channel, sign up to the mailing list. There is so much value and great content and support that you can get to be successful. It's my commitment and it's my hard work to help you be successful. Cheers, everyone.